Hey guys, and welcome to Rough Gear Review. Today we're having a look at the Walther 22 long rifle MP5s. Now, these are actually pretty awesome. They are made by Walther in Germany, they're licensed by HK, and then they're imported here into the US by a company called Umarex. Now, Umarex is pretty well known for doing airsoft guns, and I think at first people were a little put off by these because they thought they were made by Umarex. But they're not. They're made by Walther, and Walther has a real good knack at making 22s. I don't know if you've seen our video, but we have the Smith & Wesson MP22 pistol. And that pistol is phenomenal. It feeds anything we put in it. The cheapest 22 feeds it all day long. And that gun is made by Walther. It's actually not made by Smith & Wesson. It's just imported here by Smith & Wesson, but Walther makes that handgun. And that's a big key with these. Now, we've played with a whole bunch of kind of tactical looking 22s or replicas of other guns that are in the 22 long rifle, and a couple that we've had don't function well unless you're using like CCI ammo or more expensive stuff. And for us, that kind of defeats the purpose of going out and plinking with a 22. Truth be told, we want to go pick up the cheapest bulk 22 and head out to the range and shoot all day long. Not really wanting to go out and spend more money on CCI ammo because the gun that we're using is finicky and that's all it's going to take. So when we picked these up, we were really happy. We took them right out, and we've had both of these now for about almost 2 years. And there is just countless thousands of rounds through these. We just fire them every chance that we get, and they never ever have a flaw. No malfunctions, nothing. But the only time we ever have an issue is when it comes to the ammo. And once in a while, when you're buying, those big bulk packs of 22, the cheap stuff, sometimes you get a bad round in there. But as far as the weapon malfunctioning, they never do. These things are solid, and we have both. So this is the MP5, the A5, and originally we bought this. It didn't come with this forend. This is actually for a real HK MP5. This is from Laser Devices, and this is their dedicated MP5 forend. And the specs on these are so close to the original that the handguard fit right on. And it's kind of cool. We don't have an MP5, but we did have this light that we had tested out, and it was perfect. We could put it on here. We'll go over some details on these. We'll show you us shooting these, and then we'll take them apart. Give you a few pointers on that. The gun has a 16.1 inch barrel, and both versions do. So they're pretty much identical to each other. This is the SD6, and this is the A5. Really, it just depends on which one you think looks cooler. This was the first one we bought, and as soon as we had this, we almost went out immediately and picked up the other one, just because that's how much we love them. Like I said, so they both have 16.1 inch barrels. They both weigh 7 pounds unloaded, so they're not super light, but that's because they're all metal. These aren't, cheap plastic. They're blowback actions, and with the stock down, they both come in at 26.8 inches, and when you extend the stock, they're coming in at 33.8 inches. And they're, they feel like an MP5. I mean, I've fired an MP5 before, and this is probably about as close as you're going to get. There was another company out, and I'm sure they still make them. They made a clone of these also, and it wasn't made by Walther. It was made by a different company. And we picked up one of those as well to try that out. And honestly, I mean, the quality between the two just didn't compare. This almost feels like an HK, whereas the other one, you could really tell it was just a clone. You are going to see there's a lot of markings on these. On the top here, it'll say license trademark of HK, and it'll say HK MP5 on it. On this side here, it says HK MP5, and the caliber, of course. On the other side, it's going to say made by Walther in Germany, and up here, it'll show the importer. So it says imported by Umarex USA. So those are all the markings that are on the gun. It's got an ambidextrous safety, they both do, right there at your finger. Mag release, just like on a regular MP5, so you either have the release there, or you have the paddle. Magazines are going to come in 10 or 25 rounds. It depends on which state you're in, if you can have 25 round mags or if you have to have 10 round. If you are in a restrictive state like California, these are fine. The assault weapon law does not apply to 22s. Apparently they don't think you can do any damage with a 22, and thank God, at least we get something that's fun here. Overall length, like I said, is just over 26 inches when it's collapsed, so it meets the federal requirements. It's going to have your drum sight in the rear. Action holds back, it'll keep the bolt open after the last round. You just slap that forward like on your regular MP5. And it's pretty bitchin'. I mean, I really probably can't say enough about these. Definitely some of my favorite guns to take out there. Walther does a great job with these. You know, like I said, we fired countless rounds through these guns. No major malfunctions at all. Nothing related to the gun, at least. Some ammo stuff, but these are a lot of fun. And especially if you just want to go out and shoot a bunch of cheap 22 bulk. You know, and that's the key to these 22 rifles, these replicas. You just want to go out and have some fun and not spend $300. You know, only spend $30 and shoot all day long. This is definitely the way to go. So we'll take these apart. We'll show you some things about them. Okay. Okay. So there's no need to take them both apart. They're identical guns, except for the very front. But we'll take this one apart real quick for you. So when you go to clean these, make sure you read your owner's manual pretty carefully. You're not going to take this all apart, like all the way down. You're never going to remove the bolt. It's all going to stay in there. Cleaning's real simple. You're going to want to lock that back. Remove this pin. Your stock's going to come off. And that's it. Then you're going to get in there and clean up the gun per the instructions in the manual that's going to come with this. Now, you could go further in your disassembly. This is just going to have 2 pins, and your lower is going to come off. It's a navy lower, but it's going to come off just like a regular MP5. And there's your trigger group right there. And you can see in here is your bolt and the recoil spring. But there really isn't a way to get all this out unless you take the gun all apart. And you know, they don't suggest that you do that. And we followed their suggestion. We haven't taken this thing all apart. Don't want to break it, so we go ahead with their cleaning instructions. Now, the one thing on both of these that's really kind of cool is this little bolt back here. Now, this is you can set your bolt speed. So if you're shooting high velocity 22 or shooting standard velocity 22, and let's say you're shooting high velocity stuff and it's starting to jam up, well, you can adjust this for the high velocity, and you can adjust it back down for the standard velocity stuff. And that's actually pretty cool. Now, we've never had a mess with it. We pretty much just shoot out the standard stuff. But if you look in your manual on this, it's going to show you how to do that. The shroud, you know, these are just fake shrouds. You can just unscrew them, and you'll see your barrel there. They definitely look a lot better with the shrouds on them. And the SD does the same thing. It just screws right off. Let's get that back on there. And that's it. So that's about all there is to taking these apart and putting them back together.